Hey, I'm Michael. Thanks for joining me for an Empower church management software demo today. We are going to take a brief overview look at Empower, which is the brand new product from Power Church Software. Power Church has been in the church management software business for over 40 years, but Empower is the newest product using the latest technology, being able to provide really cool features for your congregation. So when you first log into Empower, you're going to do so by browsing to just a website URL. So just like you're logging into Facebook or your email or anything like that, you're going to go to your specific URL that's provided for your church. When you log in, you're going to see a dashboard. Empower offers unlimited users, so everyone in your leadership team, everyone that is helping manage or lead your church, your congregation, your nonprofit, they can partake in Empower and keep up with the data that is there for them. Each user has their own set of permissions that the administrator can set up, so you can lock people out of certain areas in the software and the data that you don't want them to have their hands in. You can provide them with custom options and the ability to kind of tailor Empower to what they wish to see. So for instance, when the user logs in, first thing they're going to see here is the dashboard. These dashboards are customizable for each user. These dashboard tiles, as we call them, that are right around here, they can all be drag and drop to kind of customize the layout and what's important to each user that's logging in. Quite a few default tiles here, and you can also add some custom tiles in. So if you have access to contributions and you want to see that the first time you log in, it's the first thing you see, you can drag that up to the top. If you are concerned with the total number of members or member status, you can have, this is actually a custom dashboard tile that I've added here. If you wish to see carings, which we'll get to that and what that is in a little bit, you can drag that up to the top of your dashboard. Each one of these tiles is editable and slightly customizable for each user. And again, you have unlimited users, so if you want to provide for youth ministry or children's ministry or deacons or elders, whoever you wish to give access to the Empower data, you can do so. And they can customize their dashboard and what they see when they log in. We'll come back to some of these later in the demo. Next thing we want to hit is the membership. So much like Power Church, if you're familiar with it, membership is set up at two different levels. Click on membership. Here you'll see household level and the people level. Household level is anybody that's under the same roof, roughly speaking. So household is going to consist of the family members that are there together, how you want to organize those by kind of head of household and children in the household, that sort of thing. These names, how they are pulled over, might be different depending on what data sets you pull in and how you've managed those households in the past, but the names are completely customizable. So if you would like the Allreds to be the Allred family, you can simply type that in, save those changes, and they become the Allred family, however you would like to save those in there. And so doing that will kind of give you a customizable way to look at all of your data. Under the households, we'll have contact information for the households and show the primary, most pertinent contact information for the households. You can add and change the way that contact information shows up. Attributes for the family, this is kind of keep track of maybe what neighborhoods or groups that the family is a part of, their visitation status, that sort of thing. These are also custom fields, so this neighborhood and group name, I believe in this sample data I've added, those are custom fields. So however you want to keep up with your household attributes. The attendance is going to show the household's attendance. It'll show little dots here. There's not a lot of attendance data in the sample data, but it'll show dots for when each person attended, which class, which activity they were part of. Notes are available at the household level and at the person level. You can see the different categories here on the right. You can see that you can select which ones you want to be shown. You can add and delete and customize all of these categories, and you can also set permissions for the categories to be shown for specific ministry leaders. Attachments here is you can attach maybe a short video or some images or a PDF. So neat things that people are attaching here are, of course, any sort of release forms, background checks, anything like that. Photos, maybe class photos or event photos, or even a scan of a thank you card that maybe the family sent in to the congregation or to somebody specific that you wanted to keep track of. Anything that you want to keep tied to that member record, you can do so there in the attachments. In the household level as well as the people level, you can search by name. Here, just type it in, click enter, or you can do an advanced search by clicking the down arrow here. An advanced search allows you to search not just by keyword or by name, but you can search, add filters in, and you can compound them. So household is not archived. Archived means that you've not deleted their data, but you've archived it to not be seen. So it's by default set as not archived because those are your active data records. Household status is, we'll say household status is membership or member. Then let's say household name contains Cooper. And then it's going to find just that one household there. Right, so you can add and compound those advanced search filters as much as you would like. Again, that also goes for the people. The people level, you're going to see each individual member or each individual record that is a part of your congregation. As you click on those, you'll see the different tabs here. Demographics is going to be everything that's about that person specifically. So general, kind of your salutations, all your personal membership things, where they like to volunteer, maybe your spiritual gifts. You can add in custom fields here as well. So discipleship, maybe you want to keep track of a discipleship path. You you can do that. Of course, allergies, medical information, and down here in the updated, it's going to show when their record was last updated. This is also where you'll see once you've integrated your background checks with Protect My Ministry, you can see the background checks. You can request a background check directly from here, delete that background check, or view one if it is active. And they do have one attached to them. Relationships over here is going to be maybe they're not part of the same household, but they do have a relationship with another member, another part of the congregation. This will be helpful for aunts, uncles, friends, family, neighbors, direct relatives, distant relatives, that sort of thing. Maybe you want to keep track of who brought who or who invited who to church. You can do that. They just add a relationship to them here. Under household members, these are going to be the other additional members that are under the same household, and then household is going to be the household name. So like we showed you in the households tab, if this family, the Adams family, its name had been changed, by clicking on that, you can go back and see all those that are part of the household record for the Adams family, and vice versa. You can click on the individual members there and go back to the people module. Under contact, it's going to show just the contact information for that member or that member record. You'll see you can add, edit any of that information just by clicking on those little plus signs, the edit button. You can see you can change the different types of phone numbers, add whether or not they can receive text messages, which we'll mention in just a moment as well. Activities is going to be all of the activities that person is a part of. You can edit those activities, you can add that person to an activity. You can see any sort of promotion information, when they would be promoted, when they started that activity, or when they concluded an activity. Attendance is going to show all the attendance data for that specific member record. You can see just by hovering over it here in the graph, you can see the date that it is specifically applied to, and you can click on the details option and you can see that activity that person was a part of. You can see whether they were present or absent each time that activity took place. Donor info, if you have access to the donor info or the financial records, you can keep track of that just from the member record here by clicking on donor info. You can see the giving unit that they are part of, or you can change that giving unit. Attachments, just like households, you can attach different things, whether it's a PDF or images, anything that you want to attach to that member record. Notes, again, these can be applied for the household or at the individual level under person module. You can see those as they are applicable to the ministry or part of ministry that you are over. So specifically, if you wanted to set permissions for, maybe you have a pastoral team that does pastoral counseling, but the other leadership does not need privy to those, you can set those team members just to have access to the pastoral notes, and those counseling notes can be put in and others won't see that. Maybe the finance team has their own notes. They can have financial category or finance category filter and only permission for those team members. The carings tab, this is one of my favorites. This is my little niche in ministry. I love kind of the caring, pastoral ministry side of things. So the carings tab is that. So the easy example of this is going to be, we always use hospital visits for the demos. And so you can think if you have someone that is going into the hospital, maybe they're going in unexpected, or they're going in for surgery and it's scheduled, you can kind of keep track of those things here in the carings tab just by adding a caring. So when you add a caring, you'll set the from date. This is when the event first takes place, the to date. If there is a dismissal or it's an outpatient, you know when the dismiss date is, you can add that in here. If there's not, if there's an extended stay where you don't know what the future holds, then you can put leave that to date blank. And you add in the reasons, maybe that's routine surgery, caring type. You can set these in your utilities options. Facility, if you know the facility that they are going to, you can add that in here. Room number, put the room number, and add in any notes right here that you need to add. And then you just save changes, and it's going to add that caring here. Once the caring is added, it's going to be updated instantly across everyone that has access to that and is logging into Empower. So whether if you add that on the go, maybe you're sitting at a coffee shop and you add that, then in office, the secretary administrative assistant is going to be able to log in and see that as well. And maybe they logged it in, they added it in the office. If you are out and about and want to make that visit, you can go stop by the hospital here, click add visit. You can add that visit in. We visited today, who visited, put Michael in here, and add any notes. Click Save Changes, and that's going to be added in for everybody that has access to it. They'll be able to see that as soon as it's added. So carings is pretty versatile. We always use that hospital visit as an example just because it is so applicable, but there's some other neat opportunities. So maybe even benevolence. I've seen that used. Churches that want to keep track of benevolence, you can actually set up the utilities and options. You set up the different types of carings. You can set up a benevolence caring where if you want to keep track of maybe when somebody's utility bills are that you maybe offer them benevolent assistance for, you got to keep track of that so that you can follow up with that person each and every month. Anything like that you want to care for somebody, you can do so. Maybe it's even just a court date or something like that that you want to be reminded of and keep track of. You can do that. Important dates over here to the right. So in demographics, you can set up all sorts of custom fields for that person. So discipleship, that sort of thing, things that are going to be applicable to all the members. But there are some things that are not going to be applicable to every member. Maybe it's just kind of a case-by-case basis. Maybe it's just an outlier of something that is important, but you only want to keep track of it for the specific person. Those are the important dates. So for example, down here, Tony Adams, we're going to celebrate each year on November 5th that he is sober. So we're going to celebrate that sobriety date. And so on November 5th, it's been 1 year. So we're excited about that for Tony here, and we are going to set that, and we're going to set it. We can set it a few different ways, but it'll remind us that that important date is coming up. And when you click on those things, you can see those notes that you've added for those members. So lots of options, lots of opportunities here across this. In Empower, one of the things that we want to do is make Empower not just an office tool, but really a ministry tool. So in the past, we found that Power Church users were maybe 1 or 2 people that were in the office primarily. Maybe pastoral staff had access to it, but maybe not. But with Empower, we hope that it is a useful tool for everybody that is a part of your ministry, that is leading ministry or a sector of your ministry, that they can have a better tool to keep track of membership, take notes, utilize those notes, make use of that data as fit. Also under membership, it's activities. Activities is where you are going to set up kind of the structure of your activity and classes and groups. And for activities, I tell people kind of an easy way to remember that is any intimate group that's going to meet on a recurring basis. So if you have a roster for them or they meet regularly and there's a set list of people that are a part of that, you want to set up an activity for that. Even if you don't keep a detailed record of attendance, it's good to have an activity set up to where you can take, maybe you want to take attendance by counting heads, or you want to take, add it to kind of what takes part in certain events. You can set up an activity so that you can keep track of those things. If you do have rosters, you do have teachers and things, activity is where you'll set up their roles. You'll see who's a part of it, when they became a part of it, what their role is, and when maybe they exited or graduated or transitioned to a different class or a different group. You'll also be able to see and track attendance for each activity. And you can see those under the graphs or under details. Events are, I tell people, anything that you're going to put on a calendar. So you would not go through on the church calendar, and you would not likely go through here and add all of these activities to the church calendar and say that they all start at 9 o'clock or 11 o'clock on Sunday morning. On Sunday morning, you might have Sunday school on the church calendar, and a lot of these activities would be part of Sunday school. So the events tab right here is going to show the activity or the events that activity is a part of. Your setup is where you're going to be able to set up each activity. You're going to be able to change the permissions or the different options that are available. And there's whether it's check-in, whether check-in is applicable to that activity, promotion dates, add notes in here, default roles, whether you want to record attendance, all those sorts of things. Attachments are going to be attachments that are applicable to those. So maybe you have a yearly photo for each activity. So a yearly Sunday school class, each year the class takes a photo. You want to keep track of those by the activity. You can do that, just add those attachments in right here. It's really easy to add activities, delete activities, archive those, and up here you can even send messages or bulk communication to those. We'll go over that in detail in a moment. Attendance is where you're going to take attendance for those activities. Again, you can take attendance in a few different ways. You can take attendance in the detail. So let's say you want to take attendance for second grade class. We're going to say details. We're going to go to this past Sunday, record attendance, and then you'll see all those that are a part of that activity. And deselect all and just select those that were here this past Sunday. And click save. And it's going to save that. You can also take attendance just by totals for certain activities that you set up where you don't need to take a full detailed roster attendance. If you want to maybe count the number of heads that were a part of an activity, we're in a room at a certain time. You can do that just by what activity you have set up. So for this one, I think only walking through the Bible was only one. So you want to add a row for that. We'll say there were 75 here for that, and you click enter or save, and it's going to take that attendance. You can also take attendance through check-in. We'll get to that in just a moment. The check-in, each time you check a member in or a member record in, it's going to add them to attendance, and you have it set up to do so. Membership reports over here, a pretty powerful tool here in Empower. All these over here to the left are going to be your default member reports. You can click on those and see that each one offers some different options and different layouts, but within each one, you're also going to be able to set some different report options. So at the top is going to be your filter by who the report is applied to. Just like the advanced filtering or the advanced search, you can add and compound these filters. You can quite a few different ones in here. So whether you want to filter out by gender or class that they're a part of, or age, or any sort of demographic information, you can do that here. Names, details, other parts of their data, you can filter those out and compound those. And at the bottom is going to be what the report looks like, those options. So whether you would like to sort it by last name or postal code, different things. And so each report over here to the left, each default report has different options. So some may have more options than others as far as what the report looks like. You can just, however you see fit for your ministry, what kind of data you're looking to gain out of your Empower data, you can report on those specific things. Also, down at the very bottom, you'll see experimental. These are reports that other users have requested. So maybe you see a report that is not available, but you're used to, or you would like to see within Empower. You can request those, and we do our best to get those out pretty quickly, and we will drop them down here into the experimental category first, and then if they work well, work as expected, and it's useful for other ministries, then we can move those up into the non-experimental areas, and so that everybody can have access to those and make use of them. Once you click run a report, it is going to run that report here, and it's going to just, so this is the activity name tags. So it's a real simple report. It's going to print name tags, or give you a layout to print those name tags here. Maybe you want to run the church directory report. You can simply run a report right here. Give you the detailed church directory. It's probably a pretty big report, so it might take just a moment. All right, so this detailed one is going to show you the report with, of course, photos and all the information for the household here. And you can browse through the different pages just by clicking over to the next page. It's pretty powerful. Once you run that report, you can print it, save it, send it, email it, however you would like to, do whatever you want to with that information. Pretty powerful report builder. It's proven to be lots of fun to kind of see your data in different ways. That's pretty much it for the membership tab. There's lots of questions to be had in there. If you have any of those questions, don't hesitate. You can reach out to me at michael@powerchurch.com. I'm happy to answer those, or just shoot us a message or give us a call. Under contributions is going to be where you enter those contributions for each member. It's pretty simple, and we hope that it's a streamlined workflow for you as you enter those contributions. It's set up to be just kind of minimal, to where you can fly through and enter those contributions very quickly. So contribution entry, if you're a Power Church user, then it's very similar to Power Church, although it looks different. But you'll set the contribution date. It's going to be default by today. The payment method, again, you can change all of these utilities options, but you can set that payment method, contribution source, and you can set those utilities options as well. So maybe you're using online and you have a couple different contribution sources. You can select those. Your contributor is going to be your donor name. In Empower, unlike Power Church, you can actually search by name. So our primary search functions are by the contributor or donor name. So you can begin to search that, and as you search, it's going to pull up those that it finds that matches your search. You can verify it by maybe the address that is underneath it, and then clicking that, you'll be able to tab down or click down here to the fund, search funds by either typing in the fund number or the fund name. Both will work. So we've given admissions, and then amount. You, again, use the tab key, or you can click over here, enter in that amount. And then once you add that amount, of course you can add the memo in there, but once you add it, it's going to give you the option for another line item here. And so maybe we gave to 2 of these. And then, of course, you can keep going and going. Once you're complete with that contribution entry, you can click save, or again, tab down, hit save. Once you enter that contribution, you'll see the running total up here at the top. That running total is going to be, you can set it to all undeposited or those that were just entered today. Again, you can also enter it or save it to everybody that entered, since it's shared use here, everybody that entered, or just those that you have entered. If the contributor or the donor is not in here, you can add a contributor or donor directly from here. You'll add that household in, add that user in, you'll have their giving unit set up, and then you'll be able to add their contribution in here quite quickly. Also under contributions, you'll see the edit contributions tab here. Under edit contributions, you'll see those contributions that have been entered. Clicking on that, you'll see the details. I clicked on the person's name, don't want to do that. But we just want to click on the contribution here, and you'll see the contribution details down here in the bottom, what they gave to, when they gave, whether or not it has been deposited yet, methods, all that. If you need to edit the contribution, you can do so here. Just click edit right here. You can edit the information for that contribution, and once that contribution, maybe that 2 was supposed to be a 3, I'm going to save that. So once that has been edited, you'll not only see the correct entry down here, but you'll also see the history. So this is great for just kind of keeping the paper trail, kind of the audit of when contributions were edited, why they were edited. Maybe you can see who edited them and who entered them here as well. If you need to mass update those, you can mass update the contributions. Quite a few different checks and balances in here as well that you don't necessarily see on the front end, but there is kind of an audit log that shows when contributions were entered and edited and those sorts of things as well. Depositing is going to be the same thing as posting contributions. So maybe you've made all your contribution entries for that week and you're ready to deposit those. In Power Church, we call them posting. It's kind of the technical accounting term, but most people understood that to be a deposit. So when you're going to deposit those contributions, in Empower, we changed that name to deposit. So you'll see these deposits here. I don't have the sample data linked to actual accounts over here, so it's showing an invalid configuration. But maybe you're ready to make a deposit of those that are undeposited. You can click here and you deposit all payment methods, or you can select just a few. So maybe we only want to deposit online and PayPal. We can apply that here. We're only going to deposit those. Contribution sources, say, let's just do PayPal and Banco. Date range, you set those date range for the deposits that you do want to, or the contributions that you do want to deposit. Click next. Let's go through here. You'll see there's only 2 that fit that criteria. So let's go ahead and deposit those. The deposit date, we're going to leave that as today, and we'll make that deposit. Pretty simple. If you need to edit a deposit, you can do that in here. You can edit contributions that have been deposited in PowerChurch, in Empower. That is a little bit different than PowerChurch. In PowerChurch, it was a little more difficult to edit some of those contributions, but in Empower, you can do that. And if it is synced to the PowerChurch Online accounting, it will actually make those accounting entries for you, adjust those accounting entries for you. You can import contributions, so whether that is through Vanco, you have we do have a direct integration with Vanco. If you utilize Vanco's online giving, you can do that. It'll pretty trick where it goes in each night and finds the Vanco contributions and brings those directly into Empower. If you have previously matched those donors, then it'll remember they're matched donors. It'll show you any unmatched donors once those are imported, unmatched funds. And once you apply those matches, then it'll remember those as well. You can go there and see the contributions that you've imported, see all the matched donors, matched funds, and then you can easily push those to your accounting in PowerChurch Online if you use that. Other giving portals or giving companies, third-party companies, we do provide a file-based import for those. So even if it's Cash App or Giveify, PayPal, some of these that are popular, you can go in and add new import source here, and you can set up how those are imported. You will have to go in and import them via a manual file for that, but it is not very hard once you've done it a time or two. I recommend if you're utilizing a third-party online giving, and you're importing or you're adding more than maybe 25 of those contributions a week or in a sitting, then you can set up this import and it will save you some time. If you're entering PayPal but you're only getting maybe 15 to 20 a week, something like that, it's probably easier to just go ahead and manually input those into Empower, just like you would a cash or check giving. Also under contributions, you can run those reports. You see those reports here. You can run undeposited, deposited, statements, funds, donor reports, break those down however you want to. And much like the membership reports, you'll see that you can edit the top, you can add and compound filters here at the top, and then on the bottom, you can select the different options for the visual aspects of the report. How you want that report to look, what you want it to include, those sorts of things. Lots of different default reports. This is also where you'll run reports for pledges, those things. Under donors, you'll find all of those giving units that are a part of your congregation. So again, a giving unit is not exactly the same thing as a member record or a household. A giving unit is set up by how they give. So maybe it's a husband and wife give together, they're going to be one giving unit, so forth. You can set those giving units up, kind of edit, customize those, but over here under donors and also under the households, you'll see that information as well. Summary is going to show some data in here. There's some giving data. So summary is going to show a summary of when they gave, how much they gave, what funds they gave to, break that down. Donor info is going to show how their household set up and how they've given. Any default donor IDs or donor IDs that are tied to a import source will be saved here where you can see those. This is also where you will see your envelope numbers if you're importing from PowerChurch. Contributions is going to show all the contributions that they have given. Again, you can set those how many you want to see, kind of filter those out, filter them certain how you want to see them there in that table. Pledges is going to be where you set up a pledge and add pledges for the specific donor. So each time a donor commits to giving, you can go ahead here and add a pledge, whether that is for your regular offering or that is for a specific maybe fund that they are pledging to, building fund or something like that. You can add that pledge in here and keep track of those contributions by what they have pledged. Statements is going to show the different statements for that person once you've run those. If you have not run one, maybe it's for whatever reason they've not made it into the statement batch that you have created, you can generate a statement for that person right here. Funds is going to be where you set up the different funds that people are giving to, that those contributions are attached to. So funds are going to also communicate with your accounting in PowerChurch Online if you're using that. But funds is going to help you keep track of designated gifts, undesignated gifts, those things that are specific to different ministries, how you want to compartmentalize the giving, break that down. If you need to keep track of designations and what is tax deductible and what's not deductible, you can do all those things in here. It's easy to add, delete funds. You can match those funds to online giving. You can match those funds to different accounts that they are going to deposit to, all within here. Contributions is also where you will find your giving statements. You can run giving statements as often as you would like for different groups if you would like, and you can post those to a number of different areas. You can email them out, you can print them out. They will be accessible in the member portal if you have that set up. I'll talk more about that in a minute. But you can generate those, see them as drafts, and then you can save those or publish those when they are ready for the members to see and utilize. And again, you can run these weekly if you wanted to, quarterly, monthly, yearly, however it is best for your congregation to keep track of those things. Events, again, events are going to be anything that is kind of top level that you would see on a calendar. So you can see events in a couple different ways. You can see them in the event list here. You can see the different calendar dates that those events are going to take place. So you can set these up as recurring. So maybe Sunday school is every Sunday at 7 a.m. You can set that up as recurring, or you can do one-off events as well. And once these events are set up, again, you can add which activities are a part of that event. So maybe you have a Fall Fest that's coming up, and you add that Fall Fest event in here, and there are certain activities that are a part of that as far as leading it or taking part in that. You can add those activities here, and you can communicate them to them as fit. You can see those activities that are part of each event by clicking on the Activities tab, and then you can see any attendance if you keep track for those activities as they happen for those events. Simple to add events and delete events. You can copy events, duplicate those to save you some time. And again, you can also see the events and the calendar format just by clicking on events calendar. You can see, and you can also add events here just as simple as you could on the list side. Run reports by events as well. It's pretty simple. Next, we'll take a look at check-in. Check-in, again, is included with Empower, so it's not an added feature. You can utilize check-in with every Empower account. You do not have to add anything on. There's no extra cost to utilize that. Check-in we often use for, we call it kids check-in, kind of just by nature, but check-in is actually proven to be a beneficial tool for across all departments of ministry for many of our customers. And so check-in primarily for the kids' safety is what we've seen it and kind of what it's created for. So it'll print tags. You can set it up to label printers and print those security tags for those. You can do check-in and check-out. It'll show what their allergies are. It'll show, and you can print bag tags for nursery. You can stick those tags, extra tags on nursery bags or water bottles or anything like that. So you can utilize it for that kids ministry. You set up those activities for check-in. But you can also use it just to check in and kind of take attendance for events. So maybe you have a deacons meeting or a men's ministry event. You want to set up check-in for those. You can utilize that. You don't have to print those labels and those tags, but it will take attendance as you check in people if you wish for it to. To do so, you just set up your stations. So setting up the station, just going to look for a printer. I don't have a printer attached right this moment. Save changes, and then it's pretty minimalistic, but it's made to where it easily works from just about any device that you can log onto the internet with. So you can set up check-in. So each check-in station is going to have a main printer typically. So that is typically used for a Mac or PC that's going to print those labels. That printer is going to be connected to. However, once you have that station set up, you can utilize iPhones, iPads, Android tablets, Samsung tablets, Chromebooks, just about any device that you can connect to the internet with, you can utilize for a check-in station. And it can be across the country or across the campus, down the hall. You can check people in as they walk in, and it's going to print that label to your station where the printer is connected. So to do that, check in somebody, you can do it a couple different ways. You can search by name here, or if you know what class they're in, you can just come click on that class, and you'll click show all members here if it's not already defaultly checked, and then you can just click to check in that person, and it is going to print that label. Again, if you don't have a printer connected here, but if you have a person that is set up, or an activity that is set up to print labels, it'll ask you, to print bag labels, it will ask you how many labels you want to print for that person, and you can do that from there. And you can add a person to an activity, you can do that right here as well, print that label for them. And that's pretty it. It's pretty simple there. For messaging, next tab that we'll take a look at. For messaging, we'll see the newsletter, automatic email, which is a pretty neat feature. Any sort of reminders, bulk email, and bulk text messaging will all be handled or found here under that messaging tab. The first thing I want to take a look at before we get to the bulk email and bulk text messaging, let's take a look at the newsletter builder. This is, again, one of my favorite aspects of the program. The newsletter builder, if you're familiar with MailChimp or Constant Contact or those type of email newsletter builders, it's very similar to those. It's simplified a little bit, but it's incredibly powerful, and it's really, for what you're getting with Empower, it is an exceptional tool. So newsletters, think of that as any sort of news publication or magazine publication where you have each different newsletter that you want to send out on a recurring basis, Each newsletter is going to be have multiple issues within that newsletter. So think of a newspaper that's going to be a weekly publication. You can set that up so the newspaper might have a title of daily news for the church, and each daily news for the church, you're going to have multiple issues for that because you're going to send it out daily. So every day you come in and add a new issue. Monthly newsletter will be a different publication. So each month you're going to come in, you're going to add a new issue to that. Within each newsletter, kind of you're going to design or build or set up templates to be used. You do that right here. Each newsletter is going to have a different type of template. So daily news for the church, monthly newsletter, you set all these templates up to be specific for that type of newsletter. So once you have that set up, you can go in and add an issue. So you add the issue here, you're going to set the release date, go ahead and add your email subject line in here, click Save Changes, and you'll see the draft right here. It means that it is just a draft. It's not been published yet. So you can publish it by clicking here. You can go in and edit that. You can click Edit the Contents right here. You can edit that newsletter template to be specific for that issue. Save that, or you can edit the different options for that issue and go back and set that subject line. Let's take a look at this. The same builder will work for the template and for editing each issue. So let's take a look at that builder. Really powerful newsletter builder here. You can actually create artificial intelligent images, so AI images, just by going in and typing in what you want a picture of. It can be anything, doesn't have to be a real picture. It's going to create that picture on the fly. And so once you add that picture in here, you can actually apply different effects. You can crop it, you can change colors, all sorts of things here. Let's say we want this to be kind of a header. So we just want it to be thin like that. Save images or save edits. So then it's going to shrink that image. You can adjust the width, align it, make it a link, all these different things. Exiting out of that, you can see the different things that you can add to this. Again, you add images, add buttons in, add dividers, add text, headings, all of these as well. That you see the little green diamonds here, accents here, are going to be things that you can utilize AI for. So if you need to create a text, I'm going to add that in here. To click on that to edit it, what you want it to be. You can use the smart text right here. You can fix spelling, grammar, expand it using artificial intelligence. Quite powerful tool. Hopefully save you some time in doing that. Again, other options that you can add in, you can embed videos, make a countdown timer, add your social networking buttons in here. You can even add HTML in here if you want to be creative and add your own little element or own little feature in there. You can edit those blocks, these big blocks. You can add different blocks in, some of our pre-formatted blocks. You can add those in here. Your body is going to be all the option to customize colors and shape and width and kind of the borders of your newsletter. Your font families, change the font for kind of at large for your main fonts. Do that here. All these different options. It also has an image gallery. These images are, again, not directly from us. They're making use of online images. It does have a content filter on here for you guys, but again, don't hold us responsible for some of those images that you could find on here. It's just like searching the internet with Google, but you have full permissions and full rights to utilize all of these images for your newsletters. Quite powerful tool, because once you have the newsletter that you want to send out for that day, that week, that month, or at this specific time, you can not only email that out to your congregation, to specific people and specific recipients, but you can also save that as a specific URL. So you can post that to social media or share that in text message, and people can browse to that just like they're browsing to a website. Pretty neat. So you set that up in options here, newsletter options. You'll allow a public list here. You'll see when you set options, you can edit the recipients who's going to receive that. You can set that very specific. So maybe it's by birthday or by age or demographic. Maybe it's by the activity that they're a part of. And you're going to set that through just like the advanced search or just like the reports features. You'll set that here, and then you'll click search. You'll see that it's dynamic. So each time you go to send this newsletter, it's going to find people that match that, and it is going to add them to the recipients for this. So maybe you're sending out a monthly birthday list, happy birthday email. You can send that out to just those with birthdays this month. Maybe you're sending it out to an activity, but that activity role or roster changes quite frequently. You don't have to go in and add or delete people that were on that roster. You just add the filter that it's only going to go to people that are part of the activity. So once they join or transition out of that activity, they would no longer receive that newsletter. Pretty powerful, pretty neat opportunity for you to communicate with your congregation. Unsubscribes, they do have the option to unsubscribe, so this helps with your newsletter email deliverability, but it also helps for those that might not be receiving the newsletter any longer, but they don't know how, and they call and complain or ask you to dig into why they're not receiving it. You can go in and see that they have accidentally unsubscribed to the newsletter, and you can resubscribe them if they wish. So pretty powerful, that newsletter. There's lots of different options and opportunities for you to utilize this, again, to just better communicate with your congregation. Also under messaging is automatic email. This is really neat option for Empower users to set reminder emails or kind of just update maybe staff or leadership or those that need to kind of keep tabs on specific data that is kept within Empower. So one example here is the carings email. You can set up a caring report. So this would be useful for maybe each day at 8 a.m. You want to know who is still in the hospital, who has not been discharged, and what the updates are. You can set this email to go out at a specific time, and you can add that carings report in. So you would say anybody with a caring that is still open, that does not have a close date, so the caring is active, and so you can even get specific to where people are, what facility they're in, those sorts of things, and you can save those in here. So each morning, or when we actually set this one too, but each time that email goes out, so this is, say at 8 a.m., it's paused right now, so we're not sending out these messages, but each morning at 8 a.m., that person is going to receive that email with that list of information for those people that do have that active caring. You can do these for a lot of different things, so different types of automatic emails we have set up. You can see some of those right here. You can add, I want to say these are going to be weekly. You can set it weekly or daily, when you want it sent on, what time you want to send, and then the different types. So right now we have a ministry email, a birthday email, and an anniversary email. We are open to adding some other types if you see something that you would like, but ministry email is actually pretty versatile. A lot of you add different types of blocks in here to report on different information. So this ministry email here that I set up also has a prayer request. So you've added prayer request as a note type under households or individuals. You can send out those new prayer requests, those that are dated with a specific date, however you want to set up that criteria. You see the different options here under the options tab, who it is going to be sent to. It's right here under the emails, and then the recipients here is going to be the recipients is who's going to be sent to. Emails are those that have gone out, kind of the track of those emails that have been sent, when they were sent, and who got it. So again, pretty easy to add those, delete those, enable those. You can pause them to where if maybe you're on vacation or no need to go out at this time, you can do that. You can, again, I've mentioned you can add different content in here in these different blocks. You can set up that right here. So you can add multiple types and multiple blocks to things. You can add custom text, important dates, a list of specific people and households, all sorts of stuff here to make these emails quite versatile. You can do a number of different things with them, and just to help keep your leadership team, your ministry staff, your pastoral staff all on the same page. All right. Last thing we'll hit real quick before we wrap this up is going to be your bulk email and bulk text messaging. So we hit the newsletter, but the newsletter is kind of a creative email, and you think of it that way. You can also send mass email, individual emails, etc., all through just the email builder or the email tool. So whether you are in people or household or activities, you'll find this ability to very similar across these different areas. But say we're in the people and we want to send an email to all members. You can do it multiple different ways, but one of the ways you can go through, you can set that advanced search here to where a person is not archived and person's status is member. So we're going to send, it looks like there's 288 people here. So you can search by that using that advanced filter. You'll see those people over here on the left. So once you have that filtered, you actually click over here and click mass email. You can do the same thing with it unfiltered, and you can set that filter here. But if you have it set already over here, it's a little bit easier to kind of visualize and see those names over here. But once you have it set, it'll pull that over. If you need to add any other filters on top of that, you can do that. And then you'll click next. You'll see those recipients that it's actually going to, or potential recipients. If you don't want to send it to all these, uncheck all these. You can go through and select them individually if you wish. Click next. You'll see when you can set that date and time to be sent. You just leave it how it is if you want to send it out as soon as possible. Or you can schedule it to be sent at a later date. Clicking next, you'll be able to set your actual email, your subject line, and your email. It's pretty neat. You can actually use merge fields in here too. So maybe you want to add a merge field for the person's preferred or first name. So we say, hello. You're having a great day. And we're going to click, gotta have a subject line. Hello. Click next, and so if you use that merge field for that preferred or first name, it's actually going to insert each person's preferred or first name right in here. So we saw that we were sending it to a total of 3 people. Well, each person, it's going to say their first name. So hello Riley, hello Gina, and hello McKenna. You can use this as kind of just to preview each message, and then when you're ready, you just click send, and it's going to go out to that person. Pretty simple opportunity to be able to easily communicate through email. Again, you can send that just as one person. It's just to one person as well. So they have email set up in here. You can actually click on the individual email, just send an email. It's going to pull up that same kind of tool. You can roll through that. Text messages is going to work just the same, very, very similar. A little bit different options as you go through it, but very, very similar. So let's send out a mass text message to these same people, all these same members. Again, we're just going to uncheck all these. We say we're only going to send it to Angel, Brody. Go over here, we're going to send it to Kelly and Wesley as well. Click next. Again, you can schedule it for a date and time, and then the text message is going to look slightly different, but it's going to show you the preview as well. Hey, hope you're doing well. Just wanted to check in. All right, so each text message is going to count the number of characters down here. So this text message, we've used 75 out of 160. So each one of those 160 is going to be a text message segment. So if you go over 160, each time it goes to a person, it's going to count as 2 messages. Each text message also has to include the reply stop to cancel. That's just part of the requirements for the Federal Communications Commission. And you can also use merge fields here. So if you wanted to insert the person's first or preferred name in here, or their last name, or activity that they're part of, anything like that, you do that, clicking next. It'll do the same thing, give you the preview of each person that you are sending it to. So you want to take a look at those. If you need to go back and edit anything, you can just click the back button. If you're ready, then you would just click send, and it's going to automatically be sent out to these people. So we'll do that because we're going to use up our text messages here in our sample data. But text messaging is one of the only things that you would not have access to during a trial period. Emails are you have access to, but you're limited on the number of emails that you can send out. Everything else, for the most part, you will have access to. So just go over some of the options that you have available or that are included in Empower. So Empower is $40 a month right now. Once you sign up for that, you do get text messaging included, of course the email is included, newsletter is all included, check-in is included, member portal is included, which we'll share some information about that in another video on how to utilize that, what you can do there. But that is all included. There are no add-ons for Empower. Each Empower account you have the ability to set up text messaging, and that text messaging includes 100 outbound messages per month. So you can send out 100 messages per month, and you're not charged for the incoming messages. So with Empower, you can actually receive those replies to those text messages, which is pretty neat. Not all, even most of our competitors do not have that. A lot of the options for text messaging in this field do not have the ability to receive text messages, but we have included that. So you'll see that if that's important to you, you'll pull up your unhandled text messages right here. In here, you can see those that have responded back to you. So we'll find one of these right here. So this is some of our test text messages you see here, and those have been sent out and replies have come in. So you can see some of these that we have sent out. So these messages can be responded to, and you can respond directly to the congregation or to the members just from these tabs right here. Pretty neat opportunity for you, again, to communicate. Again, there's unlimited emails, unlimited newsletters, all of that is unlimited. Unlimited users can be set up in Empower. Again, you can set those different permissions. Just show you this real quick under the Utilities Options tab. This is where you're going to set up new members. This is where you're going to set church information, how your ministry is structured, your membership, different household attributes, statuses, people attributes, activities, different things that you can set up within activity. All of these options are going to be handled here under the Utilities and Options tab. You can delete or export data as needed. Your security is going to be where you're going to add users and set permissions for each user. Again, each user has quite a few number or different ways that you can set permissions, what they have access to, what they have privileges to. You can also mass update people and their information here. So if you need to set primary phone numbers or primary email addresses, update people at large, you can do that here. Again, audit logs, we mentioned that earlier, but this is just so you can kind of keep track of what's going on within your data, who logged in, when they changed things, when they updated certain statuses, or and maybe enter contributions. You can see those things here, just keep track of those. All right, well, that is pretty much it for our demo today. If you have any questions, again, don't hesitate to reach out. You have my information. You can also call us at 1-800-486-1800. We'll reach our support technicians there, and you can ask any questions about Empower or Power Church or how they relate or what the best options for your ministry are. And if you have any comments or questions about this video specifically, you can comment below or shoot me an email at michael@powerchurch.com. I'm happy to communicate. If you would like a live Zoom one-on-one time where we can do a interactive demo, or we can take questions and answers, maybe meet with your ministry staff and decide which product or which tool is best for your ministry, I'm happy to do that as well. Just reach out and we can schedule a time that works for you guys. Thanks so much for bearing with me and sitting through this demo. I hope you found it useful and that Empower is an incredible tool for your ministry to help you minister better. Thankful that we get to serve you as you serve others, and we'll look forward to talking to you soon. Take care.